internal clock is a precise instrument. It does not require a jarring alarm or a digital chime to signal the beginning of the day. At 4:15 in the morning, my eyes open. The room is still held in the deep, velvet suspension of the night. There is no sound from the street below, which is a rare and heavy silence for a city like Tokyo. I lie there for exactly 60 seconds, feeling the steady rhythm of my own heart, allowing the blood to circulate, calibrating my mind from the drift of sleep to the sharp focus required for the hours ahead. I slide the duvet back. The sheets are cool cotton, crisp against my skin. I sit up and place my feet on the floor. The wood is smooth, polished, and grounding. I stand and stretch, reaching toward the ceiling, feeling the vertebrae align one by one, a vertical chain locking into place. This is the first check of the system. Physical comfort is essential. In the tower, distraction is the enemy, and a stiff neck or a cramped shoulder is a variable I remove before it can exist. I walk to the kitchen. The apartment is a study in shadows and silhouettes. The refrigerator hums a low, constant note, the baseline of my morning. I fill a glass carafe with water from the filtration tap. The stream is clear and silent. I drink the entire glass, feeling the cool liquid wake up my throat, my stomach, my vocal cords. My voice is my primary tool. It must be clear, level, and tireless. I begin the coffee ritual. This is not a hurried caffeine injection. It is a chemistry experiment conducted with absolute consistency. I weigh the beans on a digital scale. 20 grams of a dark roast, oily and fragrant. I pour them into the grinder. The machine engages with a consistent, low baritone whir, pulverizing the beans into a uniform sand. The aroma blooms instantly, filling the small kitchen with notes of earth and cocoa. While the water heats to exactly 93 degrees Celsius, I prepare my uniform. It hangs in the closet, encased in plastic to prevent dust. I remove the sheath. The shirt is white, stiff with starch, the fabric holding its shape like architectural paper. I slide my arms into the sleeves. The material rustles softly. I button it from the bottom up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each button slips through its hole with a satisfying resistance and a final, secure tug. I fasten the cuffs. I tuck the shirt into black trousers that have a razor-sharp crease running down the center of each leg. The belt creates a firm, secure boundary. I tie my necktie. It is a patterned silk, dark blue with subtle gray geometric lines. I flip the wide end over the narrow, bringing it up and through the loop. I prefer a Windsor knot. It is symmetrical, substantial, and stays centered. I pull it tight, sliding the knot up until it rests perfectly against the collar button. I check the mirror. The reflection shows a person ready for order. The kettle clicks off. The water is ready. I wet the paper filter to remove the paper taste, then discard that water. I pour the hot water over the grounds in a slow, concentric spiral. The coffee bed swells and bubbles, releasing carbon dioxide. I wait 30 seconds. Then I pour the rest, maintaining a steady, thin stream. The dark liquid drips into the server below. Drip, 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 a metronome of anticipation. I drink the coffee standing at the window, looking out over the sleeping sprawl of the ward. The streetlights are amber beads strung along the dark asphalt arteries of the city. A single taxi moves silently 3 blocks away, its green vacancy light glowing. I rinse the cup and place it in the rack. I pick up my bag. It is a leather flight bag, worn soft at the handle, but structured. Inside, everything has a designated pocket. My headset is in its protective case. My sunglasses, a spare pen, a notebook, my identification badge. I check the contents visually. Nothing is missing. Nothing is superfluous. I step into my shoes. They are black Oxfords, polished to a mirror shine the night before. I use a shoehorn to slide my heels in without crushing the leather counter. I tie the laces tight. I walk to the door, key in hand. I step out, lock the door, and test the handle. It is secure. The corridor of the apartment building is silent. The elevator arrives instantly. The doors slide open with a whisper. I ride down to the lobby alone. The air outside is cool and carries the distinct scent of rain that fell hours ago, wet pavement and ozone. The walk to the station is 10 minutes of meditative rhythm. My heels click on the pavement. Clicky, 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 clicky. The rhythm is steady, 110 beats per minute. I pass a convenience store. The light inside is fluorescent and bright, illuminating rows of colorful drinks and magazines. But the streets themselves are gray and dormant. A crow calls out from a telephone wire, a rough, throaty sound that echoes off the concrete buildings. I enter the station. It is the first train of the morning. The automatic gates are open, their lights glowing blue. I tap my pass case against the reader. It chimes a double tone, beep beep, and the small screen displays my remaining balance. The platform is nearly empty. 2 other commuters stand at distant markings, lost in their phones. I stand at the mark for car number 4. I look down the track. The twin rails of steel gleam under the station lights, curving away into the dark tunnel. A melody plays over the loudspeakers, a gentle, synthesized tune announcing the train's approach. Then the sound of wind pushing air, and the twin headlights appear. The train glides in, a silver serpent with green stripes. It slows with a high-pitched electrical whine, the magnetic brakes engaging smoothly. It stops exactly where it is supposed to stop. The doors align perfectly with the platform markings. The pneumatic hiss of the doors opening is a release of pressure. I step onto the train. The air inside is warm and smells faintly of fabric conditioner. I take a seat in the corner. The upholstery is a soft, crushed velvet in a deep blue. The seat is heated, a subtle warmth seeping into my lower back. The doors close. The train accelerates. There is no lurching, only a smooth application of force. The electric motors hum, rising in pitch as we gather speed. I watch the city scroll by. We move through the dense clusters of office towers, dark monoliths waiting for their workers. We pass over canals where the black water reflects the red warning lights of construction cranes. At Hamamatsucho Station, I transfer. This is the shift from the city to the sky. I board the Tokyo monorail. This vehicle feels different. It is lighter, elevated. It rides a single concrete rail, high above the streets. As we depart, the sun begins to hint at its arrival. The sky to the east, over the bay, turns a bruised purple, then a bleeding indigo. We glide over the water. The bay is calm, a sheet of dark glass. Large cargo ships sit at anchor, their deck lights twinkling like low-hanging stars. The monorail banks smoothly to the left. The sensation of gravity shifting is pleasant. We pass warehouses and logistics centers, the industrial organs that feed the metropolis. I see the first trucks moving on the highway below, white boxes flowing in a line. And then the airport comes into view. Hainda. It is a city unto itself. Even at this hour, it is awake. The terminal buildings are illuminated, vast halls of glass and steel. The runway lights are already on, distinct patterns of white, red, and green geometry laid out upon the dark ground. I see the tail fins of parked aircraft, rows of them, bearing the crane logo of the national carrier, or the blue swoops of international lines. They are sleeping giants, waiting for permission to wake. The monorail slows. I stand up before the stop, balancing easily against the deceleration. I exit the station and walk the connecting bridge to the administration sector. The air here is different. It smells of jet fuel, a sweet chemical kerosene scent that I have come to associate with focus. It is the smell of travel, of physics, of departure. I approach the security checkpoint for the control tower. It is a heavy, reinforced door. I place my badge against the scanner. A light turns green. The lock disengages with a heavy, metallic clack. I push the door open. Inside, the hallway is stark white and silent. I nod to the security officer behind the glass partition. He nods back. We do not speak. There is no need. He knows the shift. I reach the elevators. There are two. I press the button for the top floor. The ascent is long. The tower is a concrete needle, stitching the sea to the sky. As the elevator rises, I swallow to equalize the pressure in my ears. Pop. The sound becomes clearer, sharper. The doors open. I step into the locker room. It is dimly lit, respectful of the eyes that will soon be scanning the dark horizon. I place my bag in my locker. I take out my headset. It is a specialized piece of equipment, lightweight, molded to fit my ear canal perfectly. I plug the connector jack into a dummy port on my belt to keep it secure. I walk down the short corridor to the cab, the glass-walled room at the very top of the world. I swipe my badge one last time. The door slides open. The control room is bathed in a twilight gloom. The overhead lights are off to prevent glare on the glass. The only illumination comes from the banks of monitors, glowing with soft greens, ambers, and blues, and the red LED readouts of clocks and weather instruments. The hum here is distinct. It is the sound of cooling fans, of hard drives spinning, of low-frequency radio static. It is a white noise that acts as a canvas for the work. The night shift controller is sitting at the position I will take. He is leaning forward slightly, watching a cargo plane taxiing far below. He hears me enter and holds up a hand, a signal to wait a moment. He speaks into his microphone, his voice a soft murmur. All Nippon 651, taxi to holding point Charlie, 1 via Papa. I hear the pilots read back through the small speaker on the console. Taxi to holding point Charlie 1 via Papa. All Nippon 651. The controller turns to me. He unplugs his headset. We stand for the handover briefing. This is a sacred transfer of responsibility. Good morning, he says quietly. Visibility is 10 kilometers. Wind is 340 at 8 knots. QNH is 1013. We have the early cargo arrivals coming in on 34 left. Departures are quiet until the first bank at 0600. The radar screen on the left has a slight flicker. Maintenance is aware. I nod, absorbing the data. I look at the strip board, the digital list of flights. I look at the weather display. I look at the radar. I look out the window. I have the picture, I say. You have the picture, he confirms. He steps away from the console. I step in. The chair is a high-backed, ergonomic mesh. I sit and immediately reach for the adjustment levers. I lower the seat 1 inch. I tilt the backrest forward 5 degrees. I adjust the armrests so my elbows are supported at a 90-degree angle. I am now physically integrated with the workstation. I plug my headset into the console. The jack snaps in with a reassuring click. put the earpiece in. It seals out the ambient hum of the room, replacing it with the clean, empty hiss of the frequency. I adjust the microphone boom, positioning it exactly 2 fingers width from the corner of my mouth. I reach out and touch the brightness control of the main radar scope. I turn it up just a fraction, making the green sweep line sharper against the black background. The sweep moves clockwise, a rhythmic pulse. Sweep, sweep, sweep. It paints the airspace, revealing the few early birds traversing the sky. I pull the keyboard closer. I log in. My fingers move over the keys from muscle memory, typing my unique identifier code. The system accepts me. The screen flashes a welcome, then settles into the operational layout. I pick up the binoculars, heavy, stabilized optics. I lift them to my eyes and scan the airfield below. From this height, the ground service vehicles look like toys. I see a fuel truck moving toward a Boeing 787. I see the flashing yellow lights of a runway inspection car driving down the center of runway 34 left, ensuring no debris rests on the tarmac. The sky outside is transitioning. The deep indigo is fading into a steel gray. The horizon line is a sharp divide between the ocean and the atmosphere. To the north, the silhouette of the Tokyo skyline is beginning to separate itself from the darkness. The red aircraft warning lights on the tops of the skyscrapers blink in unison. A slow, terrestrial heartbeat. I take a deep breath. The air in the tower is filtered, cool, and odorless. I exhale slowly. My workspace is arranged. On my left, the flight progress strips are organized by time of arrival. On my right, the wind and runway visual range indicators are steady. In front of me, the radar shows a target approaching from the south. It is flight JAL 402, a heavy cargo hauler from Singapore. I watch the blip move across the screen. I see its altitude decreasing. 3,000 feet, 2,500. I press the push-to-talk switch. The button has a textured surface. I feel the connection open. Japan Air 402, Tokyo Tower. Wind 330 at 8. Runway 34 left, cleared to land. My voice is calm. It is deep. It is devoid of hesitation. The response comes back instantly, crackling with the static of the upper atmosphere. Cleared to land, runway 34 left, Japan Air 402. I release the button. I watch the runway. Far out over the bay, a single bright light appears, descending steadily. It is the landing light of the aircraft. It hangs in the gray sky like a diamond. I sit back. My hands rest lightly on the desk. The coffee is working in my system, a low hum of alertness. The city is waking up. Millions of people preparing to move, to rush, to clutter the streets. Up here, above the glass, everything is ordered. Everything has a vector. Everything has a speed. Everything has a place. I watch the light get larger. The anticipation is not anxious. It is the satisfaction of a puzzle piece hovering over its slot, waiting to be pressed into place. The day has begun. The machine is running, and I am the one holding the controls. I check the wind readout again. It shifts slightly. 330 at 9 knots. I make a mental note. Another blip appears on the radar edge. A flight from Honolulu, running slightly ahead of schedule. I tap the screen to bring up its details. I calculate the distance between the landing cargo plane and this new arrival. 5 miles. Plenty of space. I reach for my thermos, unscrew the cap, and pour a small amount of water into the cup. I take a sip. The silence of the tower is heavy, but it is a silence I fill with my attention. I am the eyes of the storm. The sun crests the horizon, sending a spear of pale yellow light across the ocean, striking the glass of the tower. It illuminates the console, highlighting the dust-free surfaces, the glowing buttons, the waiting microphone. I am ready. Tokyo Tower, Starflyer 7-2, ready for pushback, spot 4-1. The voice is crisp. A pilot on the ground, ready to leave the gate. I look down at spot 41. I see the black aircraft, the tug connected to its nose gear. I press the button. Starflyer 7-2, Tokyo Tower. Pushback approved, face north. Pushback approved, face north. Starflyer 7-2. The dance begins. One plane landing. One plane moving back. 2 lines of trajectory that I hold in my mind, ensuring they never intersect. I settle deeper into the chair. The rhythm takes over. This is not work. This is flow. This is the quiet, perfect operation of a system designed for safety, guided by voice, and executed with precision. I check the clock. 5:30 a.m. The rush hour is coming. I smile just slightly. Let it come. I have the picture. The transition from the break room to the operations floor is a study in controlled atmosphere. I step through the heavy soundproof doors, and the air pressure changes subtly against my eardrums. The lighting in the control room is kept intentionally dim. A soothing twilight blue that preserves our focus and reduces glare on the monitors. It is a cave of high technology, hummed into existence by the low vibration of cooling fans and the distant, rhythmic murmur of voices speaking a language of absolute precision. I walk to my position. The station is a crescent of ergonomics, a curved altar dedicated to the safe passage of aluminum and carbon fiber. My colleague Kenji is finishing his shift. He sees me approach and gives a singular, slow nod. There is no need for small talk. We exchange a brief handover briefing, his voice a low rumble as he points out 3 specific blips on the radar display. He tells me about the wind shear reported at 2,000 feet and the heavy cargo hauler coming in from Anchorage that is moving slower than usual. I absorb the information, slotting it into the 3-dimensional map building in my mind. Kenji unplugs. I plug in. The ritual of the headset is the true beginning of the work. I hold the device in my hands, feeling the smooth, matte plastic and the cool metal of the headband. I place it over my head, adjusting the fit until the padded cup seals perfectly over my left ear. The seal is airtight. The ambient hum of the room falls away, replaced by the expectant silence of the frequency. I position the microphone boom exactly 2 fingers width from the corner of my mouth. I sit. The chair is a masterpiece of engineering, a mesh suspension system that holds me in a state of weightless alertness. I reach under the seat, finding the familiar levers by touch alone. I lower the height by half an inch. I tilt the backrest forward 3 degrees. I slide the armrests inward until my elbows find their natural resting point. Everything clicks into place. My body is now an extension of the console. My hand finds the trackball. It is a heavy, smooth sphere, the size of a billiard ball, set into the desk. I roll it with the pad of my thumb. The cursor on the main radar screen glides with liquid smoothness, a digital extension of my will. I verify my settings. Range rings are set to 10 miles. Weather overlay is set to minimum intensity, just enough to see the rain cells drifting over Tokyo Bay without obscuring the data blocks. I press the foot pedal to activate the radio for a test. The switch gives a satisfying, spring-loaded resistance under the sole of my shoe. Tower, this is approach. Radio check, I say. My voice is calm, flattened of all emotion, pitched to cut through static. Loud and clear comes the reply from the tower controller upstairs, hovering high above the tarmac in the glass cupola. The work begins. The radar screen is a canvas of black, overlaid with soft green geography. The coastline of Japan is traced in a faint, glowing line. The bay is a void of darkness. Moving across this void are the targets. They are small, diamond-shaped symbols, each trailing a microscopic line that indicates their speed and direction. Beside each diamond is a data block, a small rectangle of amber text floating in the digital ether. It tells me everything I need to know: the airline, the flight number, the altitude, and the speed. I watch the sweep. The radar line rotates clockwise, a sweeping hand of light that refreshes the world every 4 seconds. Sweep. The diamonds move a fraction of an inch. Sweep. They move again. It is a slow-motion ballet. My first customer of the morning is a heavy jet, a Boeing 777 arriving from London. The data block reads All Nippon 212. He is descending out of 14,000 feet, approaching the arrival gate from the north. I press the pedal. The connection opens. All Nippon 212, Tokyo approach, descend, and maintain 6,000. Turn left heading 190. The instruction leaves me and travels at the speed of light to the receiver in the cockpit. I imagine the pilots, calm and professional, dialing the numbers into their flight guidance panel. Tokyo approach. All Nippon 212, leaving 14,000 for 6,000. Left heading 190. The readback is perfect. The cadence is musical. There is a profound satisfaction in this loop of communication. Instruction, action, confirmation. It is a closed circuit of competence. I watch the screen. On the next sweep of the radar, the diamond symbol for the flight begins to turn. The trail curves gently to the left. The numbers in the data block tick downward. 140, 138, 135. The aircraft is obeying the physics of my voice. Another target enters my sector from the southwest. A cargo flight from Singapore. He needs to slot in behind the London arrival. This is the game. It is a game of geometry and time. I need to create a gap of exactly 5 miles between them by the time they reach the final approach fix. I measure the distance with my eyes. I don't need the digital ruler tool, though it is there if I want it. I know the scale of the screen. I know that my thumb width represents 3 miles. I see the speeds. The London flight is heavy and fast. The Singapore flight is lighter. Singapore Cargo 8, reduce speed to 210 knots, I say. Speed 210, Singapore 8. I watch the data block. The ground speed readout shifts. It ticks down. The gap between the two diamonds stabilizes. They are now pearls on a string, descending in unison toward the concrete runways waiting for them miles ahead. Time begins to distort. This is the flow state. The clock on the wall displays the time in bright red digital numerals, but I stop seeing the minutes as passing time. I only see them as intervals between events. The external world ceases to exist. There is no traffic outside the airport, no weather, no bills to pay, no coffee getting cold. There is only the screen, the voice, and the puzzle. My right hand rests on the trackball, making micro adjustments to the display. My left hand rests on a specialized keyboard. The keys are mechanical, possessing a deep, thudding travel that feels substantial. I do not look at my fingers. I type commands to update the flight strips on the side monitor. Enter, update, flash. The data block turns white to to indicate the instruction is logged. A bank of arrivals begins to push in from the Pacific. 4 aircraft lined up like ducks. United from San Francisco, Delta from Los Angeles, Japan Airlines from Honolulu, Hawaiian from Honolulu. They are converging on a single point in space. My job is to unzip them and then zip them back together in a perfect line. I lean forward slightly, the mesh of the chair flexing with me. I begin the sequence. United 838, fly heading 270. Delta 7, fly heading 250. I am fanning them out, creating lateral space. On the screen, the diamonds diverge, their trails spreading like a fan. It is visually pleasing, a blossoming of order. I watch them settle onto their new vectors. The radar sweep creates a hypnotic rhythm. 1, 2, 3, sweep. 1, 2, 3, sweep. The room is filled with the sound of quiet competence. Around me, other controllers are murmuring into their microphones. It sounds like a library where everyone is reading aloud from a book of numbers. There is no shouting. No one raises their voice. If a situation becomes tight, the voices actually get quieter, slower, more deliberate. Panic is the enemy of precision. We combat complexity with extreme calm. I pick up a physical flight strip for a departing aircraft. While most of the data is digital, we still use paper strips for certain coordination tasks. The paper is stiff, cardstock yellow. I slide it into a plastic holder. The holder snaps shut with a sharp plastic click. I arrange the strip in the bay to my right. It is a tactile anchor in a digital world. I slide it forward, aligning it with the others. The physical act of moving the strip helps organize the cue in my mind. The rain over the bay is intensifying. I can see the weather returns on the radar brightening, turning from a hazy green to a speckled texture. This means the planes will need more space. They cannot slow down as quickly in the tailwind of the storm. I adjust my mental algorithm. Instead of 5 miles, I aim for 6. Japan Air 4, turn left heading 340. Intercept the localizer runway 34 left. The pilot acknowledges. I watch the diamond drift toward the extended center line of the runway. The symbol changes color as the computer recognizes the aircraft is locked onto the instrument landing system. It is like threading a needle from 10 miles away. The plane captures the invisible radio beam that will guide it down to the ground. Contact tower on 118.1. Good day. Switching 1181. Good day. The target hands off to the tower. The data block dims. My responsibility for that soul and that machine is finished. It was a perfect handover. Safe, spaced, aligned. A tiny dopamine hit of completion releases in my brain. But there is no time to dwell on the success, because because the Hawaiian flight is now turning base leg. I settle deeper into the rhythm. My breathing synchronizes with the radar sweep. Inhale for the sweep. Exhale for the analysis. Speak for the correction. Inhale. Exhale. Speak. Hawaiian 4-5. Descend and maintain 4,000. The tools of the trade are functioning flawlessly. The radio frequency is crisp, devoid of interference. The trackball is free of dust, rolling without friction. The font on the screen is sharp anti-alias text, legible and clean. I appreciate the stark beauty of the interface. It is not designed to be pretty. It is designed to be instantly readable. It is a brutalist aesthetic of pure information. A new sensation enters the mix. The morning sun has risen enough to strike the upper windows of the operations building. A shaft of pale, diffuse light angles across the carpeted floor, stopping just short of my console. It does not create glare, but it warms the air slightly. I can smell the faint ozone scent of electronics, the clean smell of air conditioning, and the subtle aroma of coffee from a thermos opened at a neighboring desk. I coordinate with the controller next to me, Satoshi. He is handling the departures. We have to weave the climbing airplanes through the gaps in my descending airplanes. We do not look at each other. We look at the shared airspace on our screens. I have a heavy departure off runway 05. Satoshi murmurs, his voice barely audible, climbing to 15,000. I see him, I reply. I will keep my arrival high. I verify the altitude of the inbound flight. He is at 16,000. The departure will pass underneath him with 1,000 feet of vertical separation. It is tight but legal. It is safe. I watch the two diamonds converge on the two-dimensional screen. To a layman, it would look like a collision. But I know the third dimension. I know the vertical stack. One is at floor 15. One is at floor 16. They pass. The symbols merge for a second, then separate again. Clear of traffic, I murmur. Clear, Satoshi confirms. The synergy is effortless. We are two musicians playing a duet, improvising within a strict set of scales. Traffic density increases. The morning rush hour is hitting its peak. The screen is populated with a dozen active targets. My speech speeds up, clipping syllables to save milliseconds, but the tone remains flat. Turn left, heading 270. Descend 2,000. Speed 180. Contact tower. It becomes a mantra, a chant. The repetition is not boring. It is trance-like. I am sorting colored stones. I am arranging books on a shelf. I am putting puzzle pieces into their predetermined slots. I check the wind readout. The wind has shifted 10 degrees. I tap the keyboard, updating the information for the next pilot. and shear is no longer a factor. The air is smoothing out. I notice the texture of the push-to-talk pedal under my foot. It has a rubberized grip pattern. My shoe finds purchase on it. The muscular memory of my calf is automatic. Press, release, press, release. It is a drumbeat for the morning. I pick up a pen to make a note on a scratch pad. The pen is a heavy, metal-barreled ballpoint. I write down a heading, 270. The ink flows smoothly, black and thick. I draw a circle around it. The friction of the pen on the paper is a gritty, pleasing sensation against the smooth digital interactions of the rest of the job. I look at the clock. An hour has passed. It felt like 5 minutes. This is the beauty of the morning flow. The sheer density of tasks compresses time. There's no room for worry or wandering thoughts. The mind is fully occupied, fully utilized. It is a feeling of immense capability. I am doing exactly what I was trained to do, and I am doing it well. A large cluster of aircraft from the domestic routes begins to appear. Flights from Sapporo, Osaka, Fukuoka. They are smaller jets, more agile. I can tighten the turns. I can bring them in closer. Japan Air 102. Reduce speed to minimum approach speed. I am slowing the leader to pack the followers in tight. I am building a train of aluminum. The screen flickers once, a system refresh. It is instantaneous, barely noticeable, but it reminds me of the vast network of computers supporting this room. Redundant servers, backup generators, satellite uplinks. I am the human interface for a global machine. I take a sip of water from my bottle. The water is cool. I place the bottle back down on the coaster, careful not to make a sound. My eyes scan the sector boundaries. Nothing is entering unannounced. Everything is tagged. Everything is tracked. I lean back for a microsecond, stretching my neck. The vertebrae click softly. Then I lean forward again, back into the zone. Global Air 9. Turn right heading 090. Vector for spacing. I spin the trackball. I draw a vector line. I measure the gap. 4 miles. Perfect. The rhythm continues. The green sweep rotates. The voices murmur. The rain taps silently against the distant glass. The city of Tokyo wakes up. Millions of people moving below, unaware of the invisible grid above their heads where we guide the silent giants home. I am the choreographer of the sky, and the dance is proceeding exactly as planned. The rhythm of the morning shift is a steep climb, a steady ascent into focus and velocity. But just as an aircraft reaches its cruising altitude and levels off, so too does the tower. The frantic energy of the morning rush, the endless stream of arrivals from Europe and the Americas begins to taper. Gap gaps appear in the radar scope. The radio frequency, once a solid wall of voices, develops pockets of silence. I check the digital clock on the console. It is 1200 hours. The relief controller, Kenji, steps up behind my chair. He does not rush. He waits for a break in the transmission, respecting the flow. I finish an instruction to a cargo flight, guiding it to the outer taxiway. And then I key the mic off. I slide my headset down around my neck. We go through the handover briefing. It is a ritual as precise as the controlling itself. I point to the strip bay. I outline the 3 aircraft currently holding short of the runway. I note a minor shift in the wind direction, now coming from the south-southeast at 8 knots. I mention the maintenance crew working on the far edge of taxiway Charlie. Kenji nods. He plugs his headset into the jack as I unplug mine. There is a soft pop sound, a tactile severing of the connection. For the first time in 4 hours, the voices in my ear cease. The static is gone. The world is suddenly just the ambient hum of the tower cab. The whir of cooling fans, the low murmur of the other controllers, the distant, muffled roar of a heavy jet lifting off outside the thick glass. I stand up. My legs feel the return of gravity after hours of sitting. I stretch my back, feeling the vertebrae align, a satisfying release of tension. I pick up my logbook and my water bottle, nodding to the supervisor. My time on position is done. Now it is time for the lull. Leaving the tower cab feels like stepping out of a submarine. I walk down the short flight of stairs to the elevator. The doors slide shut, sealing me in a quiet silver box. The descent is smooth. I watch the floor numbers count down. 7, 6, 5. With each passing floor, the responsibility lifts. The mental map of the sky, which I have been holding in my mind like a complex 3-dimensional chessboard, begins to dissolve. I let the flight numbers fade. I let the vectors go. The break room is located on the 3rd floor. It is a sanctuary designed for decompression. The lights here are warmer, softer than the stark, high-contrast monitors of the control deck. The floor is carpeted in a deep, calming blue that absorbs the sound of footsteps. It smells faintly of roasted coffee and sanitized surfaces. I walk to my locker. The metal door opens with a familiar creak. I place my headset inside, coiling the cord in a perfect circle, laying it on the shelf with care. I retrieve my bento box. It is wrapped in a dark indigo cloth, knotted precisely at the top. The fabric is cool to the touch. I move to the window seat. This is my preferred spot. Even on break, I cannot look away from the airfield, but the perspective here is different. Up in the tower, the planes are data points, vectors, responsibilities. Here, at this lower elevation, they return return to being machines. I can see the sheer size of them. I sit down at the long, white counter. I untie the knot of the indigo cloth, the fabric falling away to reveal the lacquered box. It is smooth, black with a crimson rim. I slide the lid off. Lunch is an exercise in order. The compartment is divided into neat sections. On the left, a bed of white rice, pearly and sticky, topped with a single dark pickled plum. On the right, a piece of salted salmon, its skin seared to a crisp silver. Beside it sits a small portion of rolled omelet, yellow and dense, and a few spears of blanched spinach with sesame seeds. I take my chopsticks from their case. The wood is light, tapering to a fine point. I pour a cup of green tea from the thermos I keep in the locker. The steam rises in a thin, wavering ribbon, catching the sunlight that streams through the window. I take the first bite. The rice is room temperature, firm but yielding. The sourness of the plum cuts through the starch, waking up the palate. I chew slowly. There is no rush. The clock on the wall ticks, but it does not demand anything of me. Outside the window, a massive tug vehicle is pushing a Boeing 777 back from the gate. I watch the mechanics of it. The tow bar connects the nose gear of the plane to the low, powerful truck. The driver of the tug is moving with immense care. I can see the orange-clad wing walkers, one at each wingtip, signaling that the clearance is good. They are small figures against the vast expanse of concrete and the towering white fuselage of the jet. I eat the salmon. It is salty, rich, and flakes, apart perfectly under the pressure of the chopsticks. I sip the hot tea. It tastes of grass and earth, a grounding flavor. From this vantage point, I can see the heat haze shimmering off the tarmac. The sun has moved past its zenith, casting longer, softer shadows under the wings of the parked aircraft. The frantic pace of the morning bank has settled into the steady, rhythmic flow of the early afternoon. This is the time of the long-haul arrivals, the heavy aircraft coming in from Europe. They arrive with a heavy grace, their wings flexing upward as they touch down. I finish my meal, grain by grain. I place the lid back on the bento box, the soft click signifying the end of the ritual. I wrap the cloth back around it, tying the knot with practiced ease. I do not go back to the tower immediately. I have 30 minutes remaining. I move to the lounge chair in the corner of the room. It is positioned away from the direct sunlight in a cool shadow. I close my eyes for a moment. I do not sleep, but I let my focus widen. I listen to the sounds of the building, the hum of the refrigerator, the distant chime of an elevator, the low conversation of two colleagues discussing a weekend trip to Kyoto. Their voices are hushed, respectful of the quiet. After 10 minutes of stillness, I open my eyes. I feel reset. The The mental fatigue of the morning session has been washed away by the food and the silence. It is time to be useful again, but not yet on the scope. I head to the administrative office on the 4th floor. My afternoon rotation begins with support tasks. This is the maintenance of the system, the invisible work that keeps the tower running smoothly. The office is quiet. Rows of desks sit behind glass partitions. I sit at my workstation. The chair is ergonomic, mesh-backed, supporting my posture. I log into the terminal. The screen glows with a calm blue light. My task for the next hour is to review and update the ATIS, the Automatic Terminal Information Service. This is the continuous broadcast that pilots listen to before they contact us. It tells them the weather, the active runways, and any important notifications. I pull up the latest meteorological report. The data streams in from the sensors out on the airfield. Wind 170 degrees at 9 knots. Visibility greater than 10 kilometers. Clouds few at 3,000 feet. Temperature 22 degrees Celsius. Dew point 18 degrees Celsius. Pressure 1012 hectopascals. I type these numbers into the system. My fingers move rhythmically over the mechanical keyboard. The keys make a satisfying, muted thok sound. I verify each digit. Accuracy is paramount. A single wrong number could cause confusion. I read the notice to Air Missions List. There is a crane operating 3 miles north of the airport at a height of 200 feet. I add this to the remarks section. I check the runway surface conditions. Dry and clear. Once the text is prepared, I initiate the recording sequence. In the past, we recorded our own voices, but now a synthesized voice generates the message. I listen to the playback to ensure the cadence is correct. Heinda Information Kilo 1300 Sulu. Wind 170 at 9. Visibility 10 kilometers. Sky condition few clouds at 3,000. Temperature 22, dew point 18. QNH 1012. Advise on initial contact. You have information kilo. The voice is smooth, devoid of emotion, perfectly clear. I approve the recording. I press the button to upload it. The system flashes a green confirmation. The new information is now broadcasting on the loop, radiating out from the antenna on the roof, reaching out to aircraft hundreds of miles away. With the ATIS updated, I turn my attention to the flight strips. While we use digital displays, we still maintain a digital log of every interaction. I open the archive from the morning shift. I am looking for anomalies, for any moments where the spacing was too tight or the communication was unclear. It is a process of self-audit. I scroll through the logs. Everything looks clean. The morning team was tight. The flow was efficient. I organized the files, moving the completed logs into the daily archive folder. The mouse clicks are soft. The scroll wheel turns with a gentle ratchet sound. I stand up and walk to the large printer in the corner of the room. It is humming, keeping itself warm. I need to print the updated approach charts for the relief briefing binders. We receive updates every 28 days, a cycle known as the AIRAC cycle. Today is the first day of the new cycle. I load a fresh ream of paper into the tray. The paper is cool, crisp, and smells of dry pulp. I slide the drawer shut. I send the command from the computer. The machine whirs to life. The rollers engage. The rhythmic SHHH clack of the printing begins. I watch the pages slide out into the tray. They are warm. The black ink is sharp against the white brightness of the paper. I pick them up, tapping the stack against the table to align the edges perfectly. I take the old charts out of the binders. I unclasp the metal rings, snap. I remove the obsolete pages and drop them into the shredder bin. I punch holes in the new sheets. The sound of the hole punch is a solid, heavy crunch. I thread the new charts onto the rings and snap them shut. There is a deep satisfaction in this. The physical act of organizing information, ensuring that when a controller reaches for a chart in an emergency, it is the correct one. It is a small task, but it is part of the safety net. I return to my desk. The afternoon light is slanting lower now, turning from the harsh white of noon to a golden, dusty yellow. It catches the dust motes dancing in the air near the window. The office feels slower, heavier. I check the schedule. In 40 minutes, I will head back up to the tower cab. I will take over the ground control position. It is a different rhythm than the radar scope. Ground control is about geometry and puzzles, fitting aircraft onto taxiways, weaving them past each other like sliding blocks. It requires a different part of the brain. But for now, I have a few more minutes of administration. I open the equipment log. I note that one of the backup radios had a static interference issue reported yesterday. I check the maintenance ticket. It has been marked as resolved by the technicians. I verify the timestamp. I close the ticket. I pick up a microfiber cloth from my drawer. I wipe down my screen. I wipe down the keyboard. I clean the surface of the desk. A clean workspace allows for a clean mind. I arrange my pens. I align my notebook. I look out the window of the admin office. This view faces the terminal building. I can see the passengers walking through the glass corridors of the concourse. They are tiny silhouettes, dragging roller bags, holding coffees, rushing to their gates. They are oblivious to the work we do. They do not know about the vectors, the wind shifts, the ATIS updates, or the precise timing of their departure. To them, it is just waiting and then flying. That is how it should be. Our competence should be invisible. If we are doing our job right, they never have to think about us. They just watch a movie, eat their meal, and arrive. I take a deep breath. The air in the office is still and cool. I feel ready. The lull has done its work. My heart rate is slow and steady. My mind is cleared of the morning's clutter. I stand up and push my chair in. I pick up my logbook. I walk to the door, my shoes silent on the carpet. I press the button for the elevator. The arrow lights up. I am going back up, back to the glass bowl, back to the sky. The elevator arrives with a soft chime. I step in. The doors close, shutting out the quiet of the office. I press the button for the top floor. The ascent begins. I can feel the subtle pressure change in my ears as we rise. I start to visualize the taxiways. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, the holding points, the ramp entrances. By the time the doors open, I am no longer just a person who just ate lunch. I am the voice in the ear. I am the grid. I am the controller. I step out into the hallway leading to the cab. I hear the hum of the equipment. I hear the low voices. I reach for my locker, for the headset that waits there, coiled and ready. The break is over. The afternoon rush is about to begin. The light inside the control tower shifts as the sun begins its descent behind the Tanzawa Mountains to the west. The stark, clinical brightness of the afternoon softens into a warmer, amber hue that washes over the consoles. This is the golden hour, not just for photographers, but for us. The visibility is endless. I can see the distinct silhouette of Mount Fuji standing guard on the horizon. A dark triangle against a burning orange sky. My shift is entering its final phase. This is the evening push, the time when the heavy international flights prepare for their long journeys to Europe and the Americas, while the domestic commuters begin their return to Tokyo. The rhythm of the traffic changes. It becomes heavier, denser, but also more predictable in its magnitude. These are not the small, darting regional jets of the midday lull. These are the giants, the 777s, the 787s, the massive 350s. They move with a stately, heavy grace that demands respect and precise timing. I adjust the brightness on my radar scope, dimming it slightly to match the darkening room. The green blips seem to glow with more intensity now. I check the separation between two incoming flights on the approach path for runway 34 left. They are perfectly spaced, 3 miles apart, beads on a string guiding them down to the concrete. I press the foot pedal to key the microphone. All Nippon 248, runway 34 left, wind 350 at 12, cleared to land. The pilot pilot acknowledges instantly, his voice calm and clipped. I watch the target on my screen. I verify the readback in my mind. It is correct. My hands move to the flight progress strips. I slide the paper strip for all Nippon 248 into the completed bay. It makes a satisfying, dry rasping sound against the plastic holder. I pick up the next strip. It is a Japan Airlines flight, a heavy departure bound for London. Japan Air 43, runway 34 right, line up and wait. I scan the runway. It is clear. The previous departure is airborne and climbing, already handing off to the departure frequency. I watch the massive white fuselage of the Japan Air flight taxi onto the center line. The navigation lights are blinking now. Red on the left, green on the right, bright strobe lights flashing against the gathering dusk. The efficiency of this moment is pure satisfaction. It is a logic puzzle where the pieces are moving at hundreds of miles an hour, and I am the one slotting them into place. There is no anxiety, only flow. I check the wind readout again. It is steady. Japan Air 43, wind 340 at 10, runway 34 right, cleared for takeoff. I watch the engines spool up. Even through the soundproof glass, I can feel the low frequency vibration of the thrust. The aircraft begins its roll, gathering speed. A heavy beast transforming into a creature of the air. I watch the wheels leave the ground. I wait for the positive rate of climb. Japan Air 43, contact Tokyo departure, 120.8. Good night. Good night, the pilot says. The phrase signals the end of our transaction. I slide his strip to the side. Done. For the next 40 minutes, I am a machine of rhythm. Arrival, departure, arrival, departure. I balance the flow. I manage the gaps. I monitor the ground traffic taxiing beneath the tower. A complex ballet of baggage carts, fuel trucks, and towing tractors. Everything has its lane. Everything has its time. The sky turns from orange to a deep, bruised purple, and then, finally, into the velvet black of night. The airport transforms. The runways are no longer gray strips of concrete, but distinct corridors of light. The centerline lights glow white and amber. The touchdown zone lights are bars of brilliance. The taxiways are outlined in cool, electric blue. It is the most beautiful city in the world, this grid of lights, and I am watching over it. I hear the heavy door at the back of the room open. It is the sound of the shift change, the faint pneumatic hiss of the door seal breaking, followed by the soft tread of rubber-soled shoes on the carpet. I do not turn around yet. I have one more arrival to guide in. Starflyer 72, runway 34 left, cleared to land. I wait for the readback. I watch the blip cross the threshold. I see the actual lights of the plane touch the tarmac out the window. Kenji steps up beside me. He is my relief. He smells faintly of coffee and fresh laundry. He plugs his headset jack into the console next to mine. We are now tethered to the same frequency, two minds plugged into the same system. I begin the handover briefing. This is a sacred ritual in air traffic control. I cannot just walk away. I must transfer the mental picture in my head to his. Runway 34 left and right are active, I say, my voice low and steady. Wind is 340 at 10. Altimeter is 2992. I point to the radar screen, tracing the line of traffic. We have a heavy arrival stream on the ILS for 34 left. Spacing is good. There is a departure hold on taxiway Charlie due to wake turbulence spacing. Kenji nods. He is watching the screen, absorbing the data. He checks the strips I have arranged. He verifies the status of the navigation aids. I have the picture, Kenji says quietly. I wait one more moment. I watch him press the key to issue his first command. Skymark 105, runway 34 left, cleared to land. His voice is calm. He has the rhythm. I reach down and unplug my headset. The sudden silence is profound. The voices of the pilots, the constant stream of data, the connection to the sky, it is all severed in an instant. The hum of the cooling fans in the console becomes the dominant sound. I stand up and stretch, feeling my spine realign. I take my headset, coiling the cord in perfect, equal loops. I place it in my locker bag. I take a microfiber cloth from my pocket and wipe down the desk surface, removing any dust or smudges. I wipe the armrests of the chair. It is a courtesy to Kenji, but also a way of wiping away the day. I nod to the supervisor at the center desk. He gives a small wave without looking up from his screens. I walk to the back of the tower cab. The door seals shut behind me, cutting off the dim, blue-lit world of the control room. I am in the bright, fluorescent hallway now. The transition is physical. I press the button for the elevator. The ride down is long. I watch the floor numbers tick down on the display. 30, 20, 10, ground. With each number, I feel the responsibility shedding. The lives of thousands of passengers are no longer in my hands. They belong to Kenji now. I am just a man in a uniform. In the locker room, the atmosphere is hushed. A few other controllers are changing, ending their shifts. We exchange polite nods, but we do not speak much. We are all decompressing. I open my locker. The metal door swings smooth on its hinges. I hang up my uniform jacket, smoothing the shoulders. I place my headset bag on the top shelf. I sit on the wooden bench to change my shoes. I untie the laces of my black work shoes. I slide my feet out, wiggling my toes. The relief is immediate. I slip on my comfortable sneakers, the ones with the soft soles. I change into a loose sweater and a pair of jeans. I wash my face at the sink, the cold water shocking my skin, washing away the recycled air of the tower. I look in the mirror. I look tired, but it is a good tired. The tiredness of a job done well. I swipe my badge at the security turnstile and push through the heavy glass doors into the night air. The smell hits me first. It is the signature scent of the airport, a mix of jet fuel, ozone, and the salty tang of Tokyo Bay. To some, it might be harsh, but to me, it smells like industry and travel. I walk toward the station, the cool wind brushing against my face. I swipe my IC card at the gate of the Tokyo monorail station. The chime is bright and cheerful. I walk up the escalator to the platform. The train is waiting, its doors open. I step inside and find a seat by the window. The seats are heated, a gentle warmth seeping into my hamstrings. The doors slide shut. The train accelerates with a high-pitched electric whine that quickly fades into a smooth hum. We glide out of the airport complex. I lean my head against the cool glass. Below me, the bay is dark, but the city is alive. We pass the maintenance hangars, where mechanics are working under floodlights on the open cowlings of engines. We glide over the water, the reflection of the moon dancing on the black waves. The rhythm of the monorail is different from the rhythm of the tower. It is passive. I do not have to control it. I am just a passenger. The train banks gently to the left. I see the skyline of Tokyo rising in the distance, a galaxy of neon and LED. The red spire of Tokyo Tower glows warmly in the center, a beacon. I close my eyes for a moment, letting the motion of the train rock me. I visualize the radar screen one last time, but the blips are fading. The numbers are dissolving. The anxiety of separation and collision is gone. I transfer to the Keikyu line at Shinagawa. The train is busier here, filled with salarymen returning from late dinners and students with backpacks. I find a spot in the corner and hold onto the hand strap. The rhythmic clack-clack of the wheels on the track is hypnotic. It is a steady, heartbeat sound. Clack-clack, clack-clack. I get off at my local station. It is a smaller neighborhood, quieter. The streets are narrow. I walk past the convenience store, the bright fluorescent light spilling onto the pavement. I walk past the small izakaya, where the red lanterns sway in the breeze. I can smell grilled chicken and soy sauce. I turn the corner onto my street. The streetlights cast long shadows. I walk up the stairs to my apartment building. It is a solid, concrete structure. I unlock my door. The sound of the deadbolt turning is heavy and final. I step into the jenkin, the entryway. I say Tadema to the empty apartment. It means I am home. It is a habit, a way of announcing to the space that I have returned. I take off my sneakers and arrange them neatly, toes pointing toward the door, ready for tomorrow. I step up onto the wooden floor in my socks. The apartment is quiet and still. The air is still. I go to the kitchen. I am not hungry for a large meal, but I need something to settle the body. I take a small pot and fill it with water. I place it on the stove. I watch the blue flame flicker. I add a packet of dashi and a spoonful of miso paste. I cut a few cubes of tofu. While the soup heats, I prepare the bath. This is the most important part of the night. I go to the bathroom control panel on the wall and press the button to fill the tub. I set the temperature to 41 degrees Celsius. I hear the water begin to rush into the deep tub. I return to the kitchen. The soup is simmering. I pour it into a small lacquer bowl. I sit at my low table. I hold the bowl with both hands, feeling the heat radiate into my palms. I sip the broth. It is salty, savory, and warm. It travels down my throat, warming me from the inside. I eat the tofu, soft and silky. It requires no effort to chew. I finish the soup and rinse the bowl, placing it in the drying rack. The bath is ready. The control panel plays a little melody to alert me. I go to the bathroom. I undress and place my clothes in the hamper. I sit on the small stool in the washing area. I turn on the shower head. I scrub my body with a rough towel and soap, starting from my feet and working up. This is the cleansing. I am washing away the commute, the train, the city. I rinse the soap away until the water runs clear. I step into the tub. The water is high, almost to the rim. I sink down slowly. The heat surrounds me. It is intense at first, making my skin tingle, but then my muscles accept it. I slide down until the water is up to my chin. I let out a long breath. The tension in my neck, the stiffness in my shoulders from leaning over the console, the tightness in my lower back, it all dissolves into the water. I close my eyes. The sound of the water lapping gently against the sides of the tub is the only sound in the world. I stay there for 20 minutes. My mind is blank. I am not thinking about flight paths or wind vectors. I am just existing in the warmth. When I finally stand up, my body feels heavy and loose. I dry off with a thick, fluffy towel. I put on my pajamas, soft cotton that feels cool against my heated skin. I walk to the bedroom. I have blackout curtains, and the room is perfectly dark. I pull back the duvet. The sheets are crisp and cool. I slide into bed. The mattress supports me completely. I lie on my back, looking up at the invisible ceiling. I perform a quick body scan. My feet are relaxed. My legs are heavy. My hands are unclenched. My jaw is loose. I turn onto my side, pulling the duvet up to my shoulder. My breathing slows down. It becomes deep and rhythmic, matching the slow pace of the night. Images float through my mind, but they are soft and abstract. I see the lights of the runway, but they are blurry, like bokeh in a photograph. I hear the hum of the monorail, but it is distant, like a lullaby. The world of the tower is far away. The planes are flying safely in the night, guided by Kenji, guided by others. The system works. The cycle continues. I feel the heaviness of sleep pressing down on my eyelids. It is a welcome weight. My thoughts fragment and drift. The darkness of the room merges with the darkness of my mind. I am safe. I am home. I am resting. And then there is nothing but the peaceful, silent drift into sleep.